Welcome to Business BTS. Today, we're diving deep into one of the greatest rivalries in business history, the battle between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. It's a story filled with bold strategies, sneaky marketing, and one secret campaign that caught Coca-Cola completely off guard. Let's uncover how Pepsi managed to outsmart Coke and score one of the biggest wins in the soft drink wars. To understand the scale of this rivalry, we need to go back to the early 20th century. Coca-Cola was more than just a drink, it was the drink. By the 50s and 60s, Coke had built an empire, becoming the undisputed leader in the global soda market. Their brand was synonymous with happiness, freedom, and the American way of life. On the other hand, Pepsi was always seen as the underdog. Although it was popular, it couldn't quite crack Coke's stronghold on the market. Pepsi needed a game changer, a strategy that could turn the tide in their favor, and in the 70s, they found it. In 1975, Pepsi launched one of the boldest marketing campaigns in history, the Pepsi Challenge. It was simple but genius. Pepsi set up blind taste tests across the country, asking people to choose between Pepsi and Coke without knowing which was which. And guess what? The majority picked Pepsi. Pepsi's taste test wasn't just a clever stunt. It exposed a shocking truth. People preferred Pepsi's sweeter flavor over Coke's more subtle taste when they didn't know which brand they were drinking. The results spread like wildfire, and suddenly, Pepsi was the talk of the town. This campaign shook Coca-Cola to its core. Coke's image of being the superior soda was crumbling, and for the first time, Pepsi was closing in on their lead. Coca-Cola was in panic mode. By the 80s, Pepsi had managed to position itself as the choice for the younger generation. They were gaining market share and Coke was losing its grip. In a desperate attempt to fight back, Coca-Cola made what many consider the biggest blunder in marketing history: New Coke. In 1985, Coca-Cola completely changed their 99-year-old formula in an effort to compete with Pepsi's sweeter taste. They called it New Coke. The problem? Fans hated it. Coke loyalists were outraged, and protests broke out. People demanded the return of the classic Coke, and it didn't take long for Coca-Cola to realize they'd made a huge mistake. Just 79 days after its release, New Coke was pulled from shelves, and Coca-Cola Classic was reintroduced. But the damage was done. Pepsi had already won this round. Pepsi wasn't done yet. They doubled down on their success with aggressive marketing campaigns throughout the 1980s. Their slogan, "The choice of a new generation," was aimed directly at younger consumers who saw Coca-Cola as old-fashioned. Pepsi hired the biggest stars of the time, Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Britney Spears, to appeal to pop culture and cement their image as the cooler, more relevant brand. Coca-Cola, on the other hand, tried to recover from the New Coke disaster by focusing on its heritage. They leaned into nostalgia, positioning themselves as the classic American brand, but Pepsi's edge was undeniable. The cola wars were in full swing, and both companies were throwing everything they had at each other. But here's the twist. The Pepsi Challenge, which helped catapult Pepsi into a serious contender, wasn't as straightforward as it seemed. It turned out that Pepsi's sweeter formula made it more appealing in small sips, like during the taste test. However, when it came to drinking an entire can, many people still preferred Coke's less sugary, more refreshing flavor. But by the time this was discovered, it didn't matter. The perception that Pepsi tasted better had already cemented itself in the minds of consumers. Coca-Cola was still the market leader, but Pepsi had won a significant psychological victory. It's proof that in business, perception can sometimes be more powerful than reality. So where do we stand today? Both Coca-Cola and Pepsi are still giants in the beverage industry, but Coca-Cola retains its position as the leader. However, Pepsi's influence is undeniable, especially in categories like snacks and non-carbonated drinks, where they've diversified more than Coke. The cola wars may not be as fierce as they once were, but the rivalry continues. Coca-Cola and Pepsi still battle for shelf space, consumer loyalty, and the hearts of soda drinkers everywhere. The cola wars are more than just a battle between two soft drinks. They're a masterclass in marketing strategy and the power of branding. Pepsi's greatest win wasn't just in taste tests, it was in convincing people that they were the better choice, even if only for a moment. What do you think? Is Coca-Cola still the king? Or did Pepsi manage to shift the balance forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fascinating stories from the world of business. This is Business BTS, where we uncover the secrets behind the headlines. See you next time.